Here are your top 10 Dax facts. Number 1. Dax is a tortoiseshell. Number 2. Dax will bite you in a playful manner. Number 3. Dax is adept at climbing trees. Like, really adept. Like, look at this. Number 4. Dax can hunt most small woodland creatures. Most. Number 5. Dax loves waiting around corners to jump out and attack you, to try to take you down, like one of those small woodland creatures, except you're 100 pounds over her weight class. Come on, dude. Number 6. Dax will hang at your arm like a monkey. Like, actually. Number 7. For the life of us, we cannot train her to ring a bell. Dax cannot, for the life of her, figure out how to drink from a faucet. Number 8. Dax smells like a fish. Number 9. Dax was a wonderful bedside companion for my mother, my father, myself, and my brother, helping us through some tough times. And number 10. On October 17th, 2023, late in the afternoon, Dax was hit and killed by a car while she was attempting to cross traffic. She left us just a little over her first year of life on Earth. Excuse me, I have written a script for this first part, so I will probably be looking down a lot. I have not memorized this. I'm also not sure if this will be my final recording of this, but regardless, you can see the stupid... Okay, there. That's better. Regardless, I want this video to be a testament to Dax. And I'm sorry about the light on my face, but this is the best way I figured out how to color correct and light correct until I figure out another solution. I will not be able to see, and you will not be able to see me without having a massive shadow. So Dax, one of my sweet little kitties, was a great lab cat. One of the best, if you ask me. She would bite and lick at my fingers as I tried to pet her. Lay there with me as I dozed off for the night. She would wrap her front paws around my arm as she was imitating a monkey. However, I think the best thing about her was the companionship. She was not only a part of my life, my family's life. She was also a part of my Twitch life.
I think my cat likes Twitch or something. Oh, hey. Oh, she's back.
Over the past 2 years, I have streamed on Twitch, amassing a small following. Fairly loyal. Unless I'm playing chess, in which case my viewership doubles, because half of my viewers are freak. Half of my chat left me as soon as I stopped playing chess. I don't know why. Anyways, that's a weird side tangent. The reason why this is relevant is that because throughout that entire period, well, part of that, Dax was a part of stream. She has her own emotes. She has her own lore. She has her own sense of camaraderie from being on stream. As with most kitties, as with most tortoiseshells, she quickly became a fan favorite. And by fan favorite, I mean for a while people did not realize I had a second cat until I told them about it. And then they're like, Dax is better. Oh, well, joke's on them. They only get the one now. The pit that formed in my stomach, that formed when my mother told me that she had been hit by a car and died, made it so much worse because of Chad. And it's not because of Chad's fault. Chad did nothing wrong, obviously, but because of Chad knowing about the cat, knowing about Dax, it now made me realize what type of things people have to go through when they have to tell of a loved one of many years has died. Also made me think a little bit about what would happen if I died. How many people would care or need to be notified. Realistically, my employer would be first. Secondly, my family. Thirdly, my friends. And then finally, the President of the United States. But somewhere along there, I'm sure someone would tell chat. But it's such a weird feeling to go into a Discord chat and be like, hey guys, my cat died. This cute little bundle of joy died. And it's not just me that was affected. It was my family. My friends to an extent because they also knew her and most of them enjoy cats. And then also the people of chat, of my Twitch community. Now, I'm not going to try to put words into their mouths by saying that they were as impacted by her death as I was, because obviously they have never held her, they've never been bit by her, they've never smelled her rancid breath. She smells well, I guess I should say, she smelled absolutely fishy, to say the least. But because of this impact that she's had on my life, and what short of an impact that was, that is why this video is here. This is her obituary. This is Dax. Dax it is. Funeral. Last rite, and this video is late because I am lazy and because I've been trying to write a script and I'm not even reading most of it, but that's kind of how I go. But with the script, I've been struggling a lot with it because there's so much I want to talk about and that I will talk about later on in this video. But for now, I want to just simply say, Dax, you're a great cat. And to reminisce and, in a sense, be an obituary for the darn little thing that weighed very little, I will now be recollecting part of her life story. Alright, so I think it was September 2022. She was just 8 weeks old. My father and mother, camera is unfocused, hold up. So, September 2022. My parents go over to a church family party. I don't remember what it was for. I cannot remember. What was it for? It was some sort of church function, I think. It was hosted at this family, and they had a barn cat. This barn cat had recently had a litter of kittens. Dax was one of those kittens. At just 8 weeks old, she was an adorable bundle of joy, as shown right here. This is also the first picture I ever saw of Dax, and the first picture that made me, my brother, fall in love with her. My parents fell in love with her simply because they were able to see the tiny little cat. I mean, she fit in your hand. I mean, who doesn't love a tiny little cat that fits in your hand? Most people love kittens. I have an entire folder on Instagram devoted to cats. I don't know how many posts I put in that, but there's got to be quite a lot. I could probably just sit on Instagram and scroll through that and be occupied for at least 6 hours. I'd probably cry, because a lot of cat videos make me cry. I'm an emotional guy. I'm very empathetic. That's why I'm making this video after all. Initially, we were not planning on getting the cat, because we weren't sure about having another cat. My parents have had quite a few cats that died prior to this. I'll get into that later in the Crypt section of this video. We weren't sure about getting the cat initially. What decided about us getting the cat was a medical situation with my mother. because of that, we decided to get the cat. I mean, I was never opposed. I always wanted more cats, and yeah. So we got a cat. As we're starting this obituary on Dax, I feel like it is relevant to share you some of the story behind Dax herself, and more specifically, her name. Dax was named by my mother, as Dax is, after all, her cat. And, well, I mean, was her cat. And Dax, for those Trekkies in the audience that already know where I'm going, was named after Dax from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. This person. You know, I think the reason for the name is pretty self-evident. I mean, they look very similar. Dax is a tortoiseshell. Dax is a... What type of alien is Dax? Dax is a trill, whatever that means. It's an alien species. That's all I know. I've seen her in half a dozen times, and I know she dies. Kind of fitting, considering Dax also dies. The cat, not Dax, the character in Deep Space Nine, played by Terry Farewell. Terry Farewell. Terry Farewell. Oh my goodness. Terry Farewell. It was also obvious. She became one of our family. Very cute little cat. She was very small. She was a very small cat. Compared to my other cat, Tamriel, she's a chunky lad. Dax, not so much. But Dax had a few things that Tamriel did not. Once she had been nursed out of being a small, innocent little cat, she quickly grew into a fearsome hunter, able to hunt down birds, chipmunks, and various other woodland creatures of small size. Here's some footage of her. I don't know how exactly I'm editing this. Actually, you know, that might get this video... Well, I mean, I'm not monetized, so it shouldn't be a problem. Like, so what if I'm showing a cat behead a small mole or a mouse or a bird? I've seen a video of a seagull eating a pigeon whole on YouTube. I mean, I don't know if that video was age restricted, but it's there. Now, as I sit here, and I recall so many moments and fun times with Dax, who can forget the infamous cat cannon?
Arsenal. The cat cannon.
The, oh, dear sweet child, don't look at this, don't look at this, don't look at this. Please, dear God, no. The furries are everywhere. Do not show this to your kittens. It will send them down a path of murder. She started eating animals after I showed her this video. That video is what led her to be a vicious murderer towards the woodland creatures. So on second thought, do that. Please feed your kittens as much propaganda against furries as possible. My chat will love it because half of them are furries. I don't know how, but I seem to have gotten half of the population of furries in my Twitch chat. Follow down below. And that segues perfectly into the next section. She has been a part of my Jimmy videos, the Unchanging Jimmy videos, probably more or less since she came to my house. I mean, there have been times where she wasn't, but most of the time she has. I mean, she's appeared on numerous live streams. There's the infamous profile picture, or just picture of me being bitten. There's the previous two examples I showed that I'll just show again because why not? I can vividly relive moments when I was filming videos with her. I can vividly remember training her and getting her good at sitting on my shoulder when she was fairly small. When she got bigger, I didn't do it as much, but that's mainly because she got really good at using her claws, and claws hurt. She was also bigger, so it was a little harder to fit on my shoulder. Like, I have broad shoulders, I've been told, but you know, I can only do so much when the cat is like a slinky, like the schnauzers, the weenie dogs. I think that's what they're called, the schnauzers. I'll put it up on screen if I'm wrong. Oh yeah, I also wrote what I wouldn't give to hold her one last time. Like, of course, even if her body has decayed, I mean, her bones might still be there. It's not going to be very fun to cuddle. Okay, I'm a little morbid there. It's all right. I'm a morbid person sometimes. I do like dark humor jokes. You want to hear one? All right. I shouldn't say that one. I should say this one. Two rabbits get stuck in a hole. How do they get out? Anyone? Oh, yeah, no, that's not a live stream. They do what rabbits do best. They procreate until they make a hill out of their children's bodies to climb out, leaving their children to starve or eat each other for sustenance, thus creating this super rabbit that hunts its own kind. It's actually where we get the legend for the jackalope. It's not a very well-known fact because nobody really talks about it, because it's so morbid to think that rabbits will just, if they're stuck in a precarious situation, will just use their offspring to survive, and then from there they will create a monster that hunts down other rabbits. It's almost like a coming of age story, except this coming of age story involves the animal doing a press conference with NASA, while also NASA is secretly in cahoots with Steven Spielberg to create the next blockbuster Jurassic Park movie. Because as we all know, the real astronauts were dinosaurs. Neil Armstrong, he's not an actual astronaut. Check your local Smithsonian. He's probably in there. Alright, it's a Crypt video part now. Alright, I mentioned this earlier in the video. It's the Crypt part. This part is less... Actually, I haven't written anything for this part, really. I've written very little. Actually, I missed... Oh shoot, I missed some stuff. So, this is the part of the video where I'm gonna get sappy. I'm gonna get actually into more stuff beyond just a dead cat. With Dax dying, I have been dealing with a lot of emotions in regard to dead cats and lost. I have lost 4 grandfathers. Shoot, how many cats was it? 6 cats. 1 cousin. And a friend. For most of my life, I haven't had grandfathers. Now, I don't know if you have had grandfathers, you watching this video at 4 in the morning, because yes, I see you there. I don't know what your name is, but I see you there. I know you're watching this at 4 o'clock. You should be in bed. You should be asleep, getting ready for school. But I know you. I was with you 20 years ago. No, that was just last week. But my grandfathers have always been kind of a weird topic. This is going to be very... And I should give a very definite warning that this is going to be a very personal opinion and feeling that I have. And I'm sure some people will probably be upset by it, but this is my opinion. That is what this is. This is my video. I mean, it's an obituary for my cat, but it's also a video. My grandfathers have been very... non-existent. And in my life, I have had 4. My biological grandfathers, one of which died before I was even born. Thus, I never had the chance to meet him. My other biological grandfather died when I was just, I think, a year old or something. I met him. I've interacted with him. But, I mean, it's not a shock, but Father, if you're watching this, I mean... Oh, my parents are going to be watching this anyway, but I gotta be honest. I don't have any memories of my other grandfather. My most vivid memory of him is actually a audio recording that was found of him on a old clock. So I do remember vaguely what his voice sounded like. I don't remember ever seeing him with my eyes. I've only seen pictures. And I've only seen pictures of my other biological grandfather. Both of which I have their genetics because, I mean, look at me. You wouldn't know that because I'm not showing you pictures of my grandparents. That's a little insensitive, and also I don't think that's necessarily right. If I had pictures of my cats, I would show them, but I don't know if I can find pictures of the 6 dead cats. Aside from Dax. And then I guess I should also mention and then my other 2 grandfathers. I remember both of them. Unfortunately, the one died when I was fairly young at... Oh, I'm probably going to get this wrong, so I might throw it in post if when I ask my parents. I think I was like 8. He died of cancer. It was one of those weird situations where, as a kid, I didn't fully understand what it meant to die, and being a small kid who didn't see his grandparents every week, specifically those grandparents, it didn't really feel real. And that kind of just eventually wore off, the feeling of, oh, I had a grandfather. My other grandfather, I remember more vividly. And he has had various health conditions and concerns over his life, and because of that, I was never really close to him. He has told me stories that have stuck with me. He's met presidents. He was in the army. But those stories he's told are the best picture I have of him, because throughout my life, the grandfather I saw was vastly different. Next, 6 cats. So, yeah, my family likes cats. We have had a lot of cats, and... Oh, wait, no. I think it's 7 dead cats. I think I was wrong. No, it is 6. All throughout my life, I've had cats. And I lost the first 2 when I was fairly young. And then I lost the next 2 when I was fairly older, but I remember them more distinctly. The one cat was the favorite of the family because she would actually be a cat. And then one day she wandered off. Didn't come back. We found her a few days later, rotting on our porch because she had died. Away from us because she didn't want us to see her dying, I guess. And I had to dig her up, or I had to dig a hole and bury her out back in the pouring rain after I came home from a football game. So that was fun. She was also a tortoiseshell, so that's kind of poetic that we've had 2 tortoiseshells. Both have died. Maybe that's not poetic. Maybe that's just sad. Or maybe that's just, I mean, it's part of life that cats die anyway. I mean, we're going to die eventually. Oh, the next thing was cord. We took in that cat, but sorry, pet people, but we didn't really like him. He would hack mucus everywhere. He was a pain to be around, and he wasn't really a cat. You didn't really want to pet him. Yeah, he was very old, and it had a lot of different issues. So that led us to not shun him, but kind of start crossing our fingers and hoping he would enter the afterlife. And that I did. One day I saw him legs up in the litter box. I don't remember burying that one, but I know that one was buried with Cadia because a few days later I saw their tomb desecrated by coyotes. So that's annoying because we should have dug a deeper hole. Oh, I also forgot about Keely. Keely was the last cat before Dax to die. Keely was a weird one because Keely didn't really interact with us. The most I saw of her was when she was dying, because unlike Cadia, who was an outdoor cat, Keely was an indoor cat. She primarily stayed with my family. Keely crawled out onto the floor. Spent the last few hours mewling. And I don't know if she was seeking companionship or if she was just trying to get away. Because she was very much a loner, I would imagine and like to think that she was trying to spend her last minutes with people. Have some companionship in moments when she undoubtedly knew she was about to close her eyes and breathe her last. But I truly can't tell because the cat did not like people at all. I can only assume. And that one stuck with me because, I was, I think, 14 or 15 at the time. And that one I just sat there and petted with her. Or petted her as she was passing on. And then we buried her outside in the yard underneath the tree. So she was not eaten or dug up and eaten by the coyotes. So we had a little, I guess, knowledge as to, don't just bury cats like 6 inches under the dirt. Coyotes will smell that, and or maybe even, I don't know, deer wouldn't do that. No, not deer. Maybe a Wendigo. Haven't seen one of these parts, but it's possible. We did set up a trail cam, so we'll see. We saw this really strange red creature running past it at like 20 miles an hour, like 3 times, so we're not quite sure what that is, but only time will tell. Ultimately, who knows? And, okay. This next section, or the last two ones that I have to talk about, as I said earlier, my cousin and my friend. The next person that I wish to See, I don't want to say something that I don't mean, but I also don't want to fuddle my words by saying something that I also do not wish to be portrayed by the words I speak. So that's something about this video that is kind of hitting me. That it's a topic that can be extremely impactful. And I know it can be on so many people from having interacted with chatters. I've had stories told to me of when they were younger, a pastor telling them that it was all part of God's plan and that their uncle died because it was a part of God's plan. And that to a small child, that doesn't seem very reassuring. And especially as I've side tangent, especially over the past few days, I've been spending a lot of time watching videos about demons. I watched all of Wendigoon's videos on the Mandela catalog. I should have not done that at 1 o'clock in the morning. That one picture of Eve staring at Adam, this one right here, yeah, that one scares me. That one stays with me. Because I've been watching all these different videos on it, I've been reading a lot of comments, and that there are a vast majority of comments talking about how as kids or when they are younger, they've had pastors and other people tell them to not ask questions or be like, shh, shh, it's okay, don't worry about it. Like, to their questions that they're having about faith, about the way of the world, about how God interacts with the world, or how this event that either traumatized them or stuck with them, they want answers or at least some semblance of reassurance, and no one can give it to them. And that stuff has been sticking with me more so, and I definitely don't want this video to anyway be viewed as a, I guess, bad video to look at. But all the while, I will still say, this is my opinion, these are my feelings, which I hope to help you and to help broaden the horizon of what it is to lose and to deal with loss, and what loss ultimately leads you to question, to think about, to realize about people and their place in the world. But I can only do you so much. And that's why I'm talking about my cousin and my friend. Arguably two of the most impactful deaths in my life. It just feels difficult. With that out of the way, or with that tangent aside, while I would not say I was the best of buds with either of these people, with my cousin or the friend, they were still my cousin and my friend. And that does not negate the feelings that I had and the emotions that I dealt with as I reconciled with their death. My cousin was taken untimely, and as with most cousins and most family, you kind of argue with them and fight with them about stuff, but at the end of the day, you want what's best for them. You want to see them succeed, unless you really do not like them. But I cannot say I have any family that I really do not like, as I am extremely caring in that regard. But there was a weird sense of, while this cousin of mine passed, I did not have as much of a reaction to it immediately, because I did not have the deepest connection to him. But in meeting with him and having known him for his entire life, there were aspects about him that were great. There are aspects about him I did not like, but the emotions of that loss did not really hit me until I was interacting with his family after his death. And I think that's, again, another example that I'm going to get into later about how you do not realize what type of impact or what type of memories you have of people in your life that you've lost. You don't realize how that has impacted you or what type of an impact you had on them until they are gone or you are gone. I have a camera on my desk back there, you can see it in the frame, with pictures of our entire family gathered together a few years before his untimely demise. Sorry. And those pictures to my knowledge, no one has ever seen except for myself, because they were taking out my camera and then I never gave them to anybody because I didn't have a computer at the time, so I just had a camera, so I didn't have any ways to get the photos off. Or maybe I was just stupid back then. I'm a lot smarter now. I know how to use technology now. Not back then. What kind of stuck out to me about those photos was how, in them being on my device, they are photos that his family has never seen, and everyone outside of my own eyes has never seen of that time we spent together as a family. And just thinking about how that kind of an impact, to me at least, just thinking about how would that impact other people. Obviously, their family. That's just some thoughts from having lost my cousin. My high school friend that died, that one was a sudden death. Again, as I distinctly remember telling him, "See you tomorrow," and then the next day being told, "You're never going to see him again. He's gone." That one was more impactful, I would argue, because it was a guy I saw almost every day of the 3 or 4 years I knew him. And because of that, and because of the small school I went to, you would really feel the lack of a person, especially when you know the circumstances as to why that person is not there anymore. There's always a chance to talk to a friend that leaves the school to go to another school or moves away. There is no such chance to talk to a friend that has passed. And that has also impacted me in the area of thinking about life and the moments we spend with people. Which again, I'll get into later. And that one also took me a while for me to really eternalize the loss of that friend. Because even though I'm a very empathetic and emotional type of person, I'm also extremely pragmatic when it comes to the day-to-day tasks. It is only after great hardship that I will kind of break down in that sense of having the emotions wash over me. And that's kind of, that's normal for me. Like, only in recording for this video and a few other times have I gotten emotional about Dax. Because in the moment of hearing that Dax was dead, I was distraught. In the moments of hearing that my friend was dead, I was distraught. In the hours and days after, I was more, that person isn't around, but I gotta keep moving, because what else am I to do? Just wallow in my own sorrow and pity? Because for me, that doesn't seem like a healthy thing to do. A healthy way to deal with it. And I will say this, especially with having that friend that passed. I know different people deal with it differently. Like, that guy's death impacted my entire school. My entire school. Now, that's mainly because I went to a small school in a country that had 300 or 400 students, so you literally knew everyone's name. But I saw how different people dealt with that loss. I saw so many students crying in hallways,
so many of my friends turtled up, almost in a defense against the world. I don't know how they rationalized that feeling of not having people in their life anymore. Or I should say that person. But I know that they had people around them to help them through it. And that's why it is also important to have people around you when you lose other people. To have a support net to prop you up. So, ultimately, the most untimely thing of all of this is, and the main point of this video, aside from it being a obituary for Dax, shout out Dax,
Hello, cat.
I want to talk about what you leave behind when you die, and what you ultimately miss when you have lost someone. And especially when that someone, or that something, is younger than yourself. Dax, my cousin and my friend, were all younger than me. All came into the world after I had been born. Some closer to my age than others. Dax obviously was just over a year old. My other friends, closer to my age, but still that there comes a point in life where you will die. And especially when you are going through life, when you see people that have grown up around you, that you've been there for their phases of life, and then you know that that's it. The last phase you saw them in is the last phase they had. That as they have died, you are left with only the memories and the vacancy that those memories give you. I distinctly remember so many memories with Dax, my cousin and my friend. And with Dax having recently died, I especially feel the lack of Dax in my life. Her death has left a hole in my everyday life. I sure do still have one cat, but I don't have Dax cat. I don't have the cat that would grab onto my arm like a monkey. I don't have the cat that would not understand how to drink from a faucet. I don't have the cat that would hunt animals like nothing else. I don't have the cat that would...
Oh, there she goes. Oh, she got it again.
be such a cute little teddy bear-esque cat. I don't understand it, but this picture just makes me think of her as a teddy bear. She was my cute little witty kitty witty. And yes, I'm not ashamed to say that because I'm a grown man. I can say what I want. As I've dealt with loss before, I haven't really thought of the fact that, oh, shoot, these people are gone and I'm not going to make memories again. That kind of hasn't occurred to me with most of the loss I've had before. Probably because I didn't self-actualize yet as to what loss really meant, especially when I was in high school. But the fact that, oh, this person is gone, that the memories I have with them will never increase. The memories that I have are the last vestiges of that person. because they did not live a life longer, they do not have a longer impact. They do not have a further memory in people that did not meet them. You will, and as I will, go through life. We're all going to go through life. We're going to meet new people. We're going to meet and see different people. But that if you ever get close enough with people that you are aware of their death, you're aware of their passing, that there are going to be parts where it's like, well, crap, dude. Like, I'm never going to spend another moment with this person. And there's going to come a day where, hopefully, when we're all old and decrepit, when we realize, oh, our time is now. We are not going to be spending any more time with these people. But there's an especially sad thing about someone being young and losing those memories. Well, I guess losing the life. Surprisingly, I didn't get as emotional as I thought. I just want to, again, I don't know if I'm getting this point really across, but that as you are living, you are leaving an impact on others. And once you die, those impacts are all that people will have of you. Now, arguably, those that are of higher value or in the social eye or have like a following will have a longer impact, a greater impact. The classic saying of a man dies twice. Once when he dies and the second time when his name is uttered for the last time. That you are truly dead once people forget you existed. Once they no longer consider you a person that had a name, but a person that, oh, that person existed. And thus, for various reasons, more people will be remembered for different things: politics, fame, wealth, entrepreneurship. But I can guarantee you that no one will be remembered for cryptocurrency, except for maybe Logan Paul. But that would probably be because of his WWE stuff. The last final thought I wanted to say, to bring this kind of back to Dax, is Dax, just like 2 weeks prior to her actual death, we had a scare. There was a few days where she was lethargic. She wasn't as hippity-hoppity, skippity-scoppity. She wasn't eating. She wasn't drinking. She wasn't going about her daily life normal. She would just be lethargic. So we got concerned. She wasn't eating. She wasn't drinking. That went on for a few days. We propped her up on my bed. And for a few days, the only way she drank water was if I poured some into my hand and force-fed it to her to get her a little sustenance. For a few days, I was worried about her dying. I was worried that she would die and leave me. Leave my family. We eventually took her to the vet. Turns out she was just constipated. So, yay, woohoo. No scares there. She just had to get something through her system. And then the very same day she got her vet visit, she was eating a mouse skull whole, according to my mother. So that's great. She was doing the exact same thing that probably led to her having her bowel problems. And then wouldn't you know it, two-ish weeks later, she's hit by a car and actually died. And I cannot tell you how different that felt. To, oh no, I'm watching my cat die. To, oh, my cat died. I wasn't there. She's buried in the backyard, and I'm never going to see her again. I have my last memory of her standing on my desk over there in the background, biting at a earbud on my desk, and me shooing her away from it while I got ready for work. That was my last memory of Dax. And it's so much different to have a person die suddenly than to have a person that died slowly. And that also led me to another realization. The way people die impacts how you feel about them. It is a lot harder to watch someone you love die than it is to hear that someone you love died. Most of the loss in my life have been sudden. Oh, they died. And I will never see them again. With Dax, it was a, oh, she might die, to, she's dead. I have had similar experiences with my other cat, which, unlike Dax, has survived longer and has been through a lot more fights, as you can see from this picture. We don't know what happened. We just know she had that. And I was thinking, well, it kind of makes sense. There are some people that are tougher than not. And, I mean, Dax was a small cat. Getting hit by a car. Yeah, I've seen cats survive, but Dax is a small cat. I'm not upset about that. I'm obviously upset that she's dead, but it's like how people die really impact how you remember them and what you remember about them. And that's why it's so important for you to cherish memories, to cherish moments you have with people, to have connections with people that you want to sustain, that you want to be a part of your consciousness, that help build you up, that help build you to be a better person. The very final thing, because this video is probably going to be like 30 minutes long at this point, for some of the people that have died in my life, I will see them again. As I live and breathe, I will see them again. As Christ died for us, he died for them. But I also know that there are some people that I will not see again. Because one day we will all die. Some before others. But unless you die with Christ, you may never see them again. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know if I'm going to keep this full thing. I might re-film it. I'm probably going to edit this, see how I feel about it, and then whatnot. I hope you enjoyed it, though, if you did. If this is the final cut, or if this is in the final video, I just want to say I want to make more meaningful content like this. I don't really know how meaningful this video will be. I recently got a comment on a video I posted to YouTube like 6 months ago that the comment was absolutely so positively glowing, telling me about how much of an impact that video made on that person during that day, that video was there for them. And I'm looking at I look at the video and I don't even remember making it. Part of that is because I've been streaming on Twitch for so long. There are plenty of videos I do not remember. That is another problem. I want to actually remember the videos I make now. I want them to be distinguishable content videos. And thus, when this video comes out, whenever this video comes out, I just hope that you will enjoy it. If you did, that's great. If you didn't even reach it this far, I mean, you will never know I said these words, so it's kind of pointless. But if you did watch it all the way till now, thank you. And as always, Godspeed, God bless, peace.